What's up, Builder Crew? We are doing something different. It's a segment we're going to write for some industry-specific publications. So this is emerging and established. Just going to talk to some small business owners state by state. We're starting with my industry, the fence industry, in Wisconsin, close to my hometown, with the boys from Lemke Fence. Thanks for tuning in. So, I was looking at it, 6 decades. Tell me the story of Lemke Fence. Who started it? I think it was a Martin. Tell me your whole story.
My name is Dave Schmitz.
Yep.
No, it's Austin Schmitz also. My mother was a Lemke. That's how we're related. So my last name is Schmitz.
Hold on real quick. I want to make sure, just so everybody's listening, that's Dave talking right now. So you went to work. Who is Martin to you?
Well, Martin Lemke started it in 1956.
Okay, got it. Okay, keep
Okay,
going.
He started in his garage, and built it up. And he moved to Fort Atkinson for a while, and then I believe it was 1982 or 84 he moved here where we are now in Jefferson. And I started working here in 1986, and I worked for my uncle for a few years, and he sold it to another worker here at the time. And then there was another gentleman that worked here that bought out Marty, and he had it for 10 years. And then he decided to get out, and then I was able to purchase it from him. In 1980 or 99 is when I purchased it from Mike Neujer, Neujer, I believe it was. And I've been running it ever since. And now pretty much Austin runs most things, but I'm on my way out the door. And I was chapter president for 6 years of our local AFA chapter. Then I was chair of the board of governors you do pre-chair and then you do chair, and then you do past chair. So it was 3 years of that. And then I was off the boards, and now I still do chain link instructing for AFA on their schooling.
That's awesome. So Dave, you've been in the industry, you've been working in the fence industry since 86, is that right?
Yes.
And you're on your Twilight tour, and your son is taking over the business. Or he has taken over the business? Or?
Well, I'm still on the paper, but he's running most things.
All right, cool. So then, I'm not sure which way I want to take it. So let's talk about from 86 to now. Let's just talk about Dave's tenure. Like, what was fun? What was awful? Obviously, you sucked your son into it. Like, I don't know if I'll let my son get into it for very obvious. I'm only kidding. But what do you love? What do you hate when you think about the fence industry? Obviously, you're active in the chapter and the AFA, which I appreciate because I'm trying to up my game there too myself. But what's the tell me how it's been for you in the industry?
I mean, the industry, I rode the roller coaster. I mean, it's like any other thing. As the economy rolls, the industry rolls. But I guess I've done it so long that it doesn't really faze me much anymore. Probably my biggest struggle is, everybody always says employees. I have good employees. I have a lot of guys that have worked for me for close to 30 years or more. So I guess I must treat them right. But banks have probably been one of my biggest thorns in my side. It never failed. Anytime you ever need anything out of a bank, it's like pulling teeth. But
can we live that? Can we live that story? Would you share tell me what that sounds like?
Well, when I bought the business, I dealt with a banker, and it was an old banker, and it was kind of like one of them handshake type deals, almost as the way he ran your credit. And it was very good. And as time went, of course, he retired, the bank got bought out, blah, blah, blah. And I switched banks, and then the nightmares just started. Then it was, banks sitting there and I think that it was I was at a bank out of a different town, and we banked out of town for a while, and it worked out okay, but they weren't able to do what I wanted to do. So I ended up going to more of a local bank, and they were okay for a while. And there again, it got bought out, and all of a sudden they were just telling me that my books didn't look good. And I actually had them come in here with my accountant, and he just destroyed them. I don't know, for some reason they were trying to push me out, and it worked because they pushed me out. I ended up getting to a different bank, and now I've been with the same bank for, I don't know, quite a few years. I always tried keeping it separate from my personal, but I ended up going to the same bank, just to make things simpler. And now it's been okay, but I struggled with a lot of banks, and it was more, it wasn't anything about the way the books looked. It's just the way banks interpret stuff is different than the way I interpret things, I guess.
And on yours, so I think for a lot of people that might listen to this, they're either way above our pay grade and they're like, they don't have banking problems, or they don't even know what they need a banker for. So are you running like a line of credit, or what was it that the bank, what?
Line of credit, that was always the big thing, was the line of credit, and I like to order truckloads in the spring. So back in the day when I didn't have the money, I needed a line of credit if I wanted to do it. I mean, they'll give you 90 days, but you don't always know if you're going to have that money in 90 days. So you got to have a backup plan.
Got it. So the damned old bank.
So that was probably one of the biggest struggles, and of course you're trying to get credit, and I have the land here. So there's something physical they could grab, but they were always just weird about it. I always struggled with that. And like I said, now I've been with the bank for a long time, and it's the same bank I've banked with for I've been married 36 years, same bank. And now everything's been okay, and they keep a line of credit open for me. I haven't used it in quite a while, but it's there if I need it.
Got it. And then I guess I did us a disservice. I don't know who I'd rather maybe Austin. Tell me about Lemke Fence. So how many crews? What's the size? How big of a company am I talking to here?
So we run 4 crews.
4 crews, and what's the geography? What are we covering?
So pretty much all of southern Wisconsin. Bigger projects will travel a little further, but it's mainly, what do you say, a 50-mile
50 to 60 mile radius is kind of the way I figure
50
it.
to 60 mile radius, and that is centered on, where's home base?
On Jefferson.
And mixed. What about? Do you guys mind me asking what the revenue is?
About $3 million, a little over usually.
Very nice.
Thereabouts.
Very nice sized business. How's your crews? They're house crews, subs, or both?
All in house.
All in house. I think that's the way it should be.
And then we put everything in concrete too. We're not driving our post.
No pounding. You guys don't like Sean King, eh?
Well, I will drive posts if somebody requests it, but I won't recommend it. How about that?
Fair enough. And then, so $3 million, mostly residential or mostly commercial?
About 50-50 is the way I've always figured it.
50-50. And who's your each of you define your dream job, like your favorite job. When we get these jobs, we like these jobs, like the idyllic job. We'll go Dave first, then Austin.
An ideal job. That's a tough one. Ones that we've done in the past, I guess probably one of the biggest PVC jobs we did was several. I don't know how many feet that was, 8 foot tall, and it actually went very smooth. And it was at a guy's yard. It turned out nice. I guess the ideal job is just hoping everything goes smoothly. It's I guess what I would say.
The ones that go well. We'll say that.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's a job in the middle of nowhere where you don't have to worry about the neighbors. That's the biggest thing.
Very good. Yeah. And utilities and whatever else.
Yeah.
Middle of nowhere. All right, cool. All right. So what I want to do before I have Austin tell his story, and I really want to get into the generational issue. Obviously I took it from my dad. The everything in college said that that's hard, and I agree. So I'll be interested to see how you guys deal with the power struggle. But just like what I'm hoping to do is like talk to everybody and go state to state. So when you guys think of your competitors, and I know like if I was leading the class, I wouldn't say don't worry about your competitors. That would be what I'd say is like you don't need to worry about your competitors. But at the same time, I just want to give like a market view. So who's the competitors that you love or look up to? Like the guys that you're like,
So I suppose for us with being in the AFA, a lot of like what you would say is competitors we're friends with. And I don't know if I'd put us in the same bracket as a lot of people just because we're one of the last companies that still uses concrete for everything. So our installation methods are different. So we're not, I don't know if I would say we're direct competitors with anyone.
Sure.
Unless people are looking at the price, we try to differentiate ourselves from everyone else.
That's awesome. So you're so good you don't have competitors.
I guess we've always gotten along with our competitors, and like I say, back when we had it, we don't have an AFA chapter here anymore, but when we did, I mean, there was a lot of companies that that belonged. There was like 4 or 5 companies that used to come always, and we were always good friends with them, and they're all within our our territory, I guess you'd say, but we've learned to get along with it. There's enough work out there for everybody. So I mean, I've worked. An example, I worked right across the street from Pete Roth when Roth had his shop in Elkhorn, right across from the Walworth Fairgrounds. I literally worked across the street. He brought his forklift over to help me load their old gate when it got smashed. I mean, that's the kind of way we compete. So it's friendly competition.
That's good. Well, that'll be interesting. Also, we have the AFA golf event for Chicago. You guys are more than welcome to come next week. We'd love to have you, especially you, Dave, since you're retiring and you don't got to worry about anything anymore. You gotta come help me with the Chicago chapter. We'll just bring you guys in. There's
not much of a golfer, as you can look behind. You can't see the pictures, but I like guns. So if you do a clay shoot or something, I'd be more into it.
I see the guns. I wish we were doing a clay shoot. I freaking hate golf myself, if you want to be honest. But but no, that's good. So everybody's friendly. When you say those 4 that kind of cover up, like who do you think of when you think of Southern Wisconsin Fence Company's peers, if you will, not competitors? Roth. Who else?
You got Roth. There was Simmons Fence. Qualine Fence is another old timer. That's Ray Stats. I don't know if you know Ray. He's been around the industry. He was in it with my uncle. So Ray is I believe he's in his 80s, and I think he's still active at his company, but I know his son that I think runs it now. But yeah, so you had Ray. As far as our competition, the other one would be like Struck and Irwin out of Madison. I don't really know them. They never used to come to meetings. Century Fence is a real big one. That's more your commercial role. Don't really know them either. They never really came to meetings, but
there's a lot of new companies popping up too.
Very good. So Century's the big one. Is anybody else big in Wisconsin when you think of bigger Wisconsin companies?
No.
I would say Century's the biggest.
Century's the biggest. I was just curious. There's somebody else that I always see on the highway out of Milwaukee. What's it?
Statewide, I think, or something like that.
Statewide.
Seems like there's another.
Well,
or Northway. I've seen their signs on ball ends.
Northway. Okay, so you don't know them either, eh?
No, I do not.
I was curious about them. And then, did you see down in Elkhorn, they did that big guardrail job? It was freaking Southpaw. I think Southpaw, like the boxing. Did you see Southpaw Fence? Did you guys see that at all last year?
No, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I saw one of their fences once. I think they're from up north, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to record this and I'm going to have you send it to your friends. I want to cover up I want to get a whole good lay of the land for all of Wisconsin. I knew Century. I think Century's big. Like, I think they're like on the national scale. I think they make it down. Yeah, I think they're a big deal. Do you know? You guys don't know anybody over there, huh?
No. I do not.
We're going to try to talk to them. And then you said there's a bunch of smaller startups. Do you guys know anybody? Do you guys know any of those companies offhand, or you're not familiar?
No. Ever since the AFA kind of stopped doing the events around here, we don't really meet up with a lot of the local companies.
Do you know when?
Chuck in a truck.
Do you know when the AFA folded up there, and or why? Curious that story, because Chicago.
Oh, it was just like I said, we had it was us, Qualine Fence, Simmons, Roth, and there was another one, American, over in Kenosha. And those were our chapter. I mean, it was 5 companies that came all the time. And as we get older, it just started fizzling out, and it just got to the point where people just weren't interested in keeping a chapter alive. I mean, like I said, I was president of the chapter for 6 years, and then another gentleman had it for the next 4, and nobody was going to step up, and it wasn't worth. We didn't feel the best thing I ever got out of it. Well, besides the networking and meeting them and becoming friends with these people, was when we would do our charity fences. That I always enjoyed, and guys always enjoy coming there and giving back a little bit to the community, because I'm a big believer in giving. If you want something, you got to give something.
Well, Austin, I'm going to probably bother you after this call and see if we can't maybe do like an extension of the Chicago chapter. Like maybe you guys meet in his place and we all compare notes. I don't know, because our chapter struggles too. But I think for us, particularly the young guys, it's just good to be building our businesses together, not the way it used to be with you guys, right? Like if you need help, you can call somebody instead of trying to, I don't know. So
it is, there's enough. I've always said there's enough work out there for everybody. The biggest thing that irritates me, I guess, in competition is people that build crappy fence.
Yeah.
That's been coming really common in our area.
It's nothing, to lose a bid is like, oh, well, there's another one down the road. But when you go by it and you see a big curve to it or something, it's like, oh my God, some of these companies are I don't know who they're hiring.
Are they putting a sign on it? Who's building the crappy fence? We got to go coach them up.
I ain't saying no. We don't say names, but
I could list off quite a few, but I'm not gonna.
Off the record, we could talk sometime.
Like legitimately though, Austin, I think like that's the people that need to go to the AFA. Like we need to coach them up. I'm not trying to put them on blast. So if you can text me those people, that's who I'd like to talk. I'm not going to embarrass them. We're not here to shame them, but like, if we don't mentor them, they're just going to keep building crappy fence, right? And then we all get a bad name because of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that are just trying to make $1 and they're not trying to build a good fence.
Send me your list. I won't put them on blast online. I want to talk.
Well, I agree. They should learn. The one company won't bother sending it because they should have been out of business like 5 years ago. All the people they burned that money, but so I think they're beyond that point. But there is other ones that and like I say, I do training, and I was just out in Nebraska last week, and I did training at Empire Fence and Netting, and I was teaching chain link, and it's always amazing when I teach people that some of the little things that you do that nobody has a clue, and it's like, oh my God, that's where I think they keep me around, because I think they like to have a little old school to blend in with the new stuff. You put a computer in front of me, I'm not worth anything, but you put a bunch of tools in front of me, I can build a fence. That's about the way I am. I'm not a college person. I never went to college, and it's treated me well over the years.
That's good. No, so you were out there with Matt Warner and Jamie?
Yeah, yep.
They're good friends of ours.
Yep, Matt Warner, and he is a very good guy, and they actually had their AFA meeting Wednesday night, because we taught Wednesday and they had their meeting Wednesday night. So yeah, it was okay. And I enjoy that because it was fun getting together. There was the AFA president came, and I actually know him because he was going to be the board or the chair of the board. It was me. I was past chair. Then Barry. What's Barry's last name?
Baker.
Barry Baker was chair, and then Lundgren was the pre-chair, whatever you call it. And so I've known these guys for a lot of years, and it was kind of fun getting together with them and, shooting the shit again.
Celebrating our heritage. I love it. All right. Austin, you're up, bro. So pretend Dad's not in the room. Tell me about what's your story, bro?
I'd say my fence career started when I was born. So
there you go. You didn't have a choice in the matter, eh?
Yeah, I used to, when I was real little, I got paid a penny every nail I picked up in the yard, and I thought I was getting rich out there, but I probably made like $2 a day or something.
I was going to say, what was your best day?
then when I started getting a little older, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10, I had to start mowing the lawn. There's a lot of grass to cut out here. It was a 10, 12-hour project. But I'd say I started going in the first time I went in the field. I'd say, I don't know, it was 10, maybe 12.
How old are you now?
There was I'm 28 right now. But there was a big commercial project, and it was all top wire and bottom wire. And I got at a half day at school, and he didn't want to take me to daycare, I guess. So he dropped me off at this job, gave me a pair of hog ringers, and then I just saw his taillights going down the road.
So you were just hogging?
Yeah, he came back
all day.
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah, I kid you not. I think my hands were bleeding.
What'd you pay him? Did he even get paid, or was that just to earn his keep?
Well, you know what? If you ask him, he'll tell you I didn't hardly ever pay him. But the guy drove a nice vehicle. He had a nice 4-wheeler, all the toys.
All right. So,
the minimum wage was $7.25. I don't think I got to that till it was quite a while.
But Dad brought you a truck, so you had to earn your rent.
You know, when Austin turned 18, and he just came up to me and he said, I don't know if the business is for me. And I said, you know, I would never push somebody into it. I said, if it's not for you, it's not for you. So he went off and he worked at a factory for about 6 months, and he made good money, but it was a big factory and you were a number is all you were. And there was no personal. And he came up to me and said, maybe it is. And he ended up going to, I told him the deal was he had to go to college and get a business degree, and if he was interested in running the place. And so that's what Austin ended up doing.
I will say, though, if you're a second or third or fourth generation, you should definitely go get a different job before you make a decision, because I feel like you need to experience the real world before you say it is or it isn't for you.
Yeah, so wait a minute. I like this. So Dad worked your ass, which I love. Didn't pay you, made you earn your stripes. And then 18 years old, you say, I don't know if I want to do this. So you're graduating high school at this point?
Yep. And I guess I should take a step back. I probably went full-time on the cruise when I was 13 or 14, all my summers, or if I had a day off of school or something like that.
Okay. So 13, 14. So you're doing it for 4 years, and you're kind of like, screw that, more or less.
Yeah.
And then, so you go to the factory first or college first?
Factory.
So you go to factory, and then you say, screw that. And you're like, Dad, I want to work in the company. And Dad says, all right, well, you got to get a degree.
Yep. So I went and got my business degree, and then any day I wasn't in school, I was in here working.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to MATC. So it's like a technical college.
Yeah, so this is interesting. I'm so curious about this. Are you and Dad? I appreciate it. My mom was the same way. You must go to school. When you look back on that, was it helpful? Are you glad you went to school, or was it a waste of time and money?
Well, right when I got out of school, I kept working on the cruise. So I wouldn't say it benefited me right away, but now that I'm in a management situation, it's definitely helping me out, knowing all the stuff that I learned in college.
Okay, cool. So you
That's, people say to me, they say, well, you never went to college. And I said, you know what? But think how much quicker I could have done things. How better off I would have been maybe if I did. You never know.
Yeah. And so, all right. So we're 18-year-old Austin says, not for me, goes to the factory, maybe for me, goes to school 2 years or 4 years?
Yep, 2 years.
2-year degree.
2 years.
And then you come back and you're still working in the field. How do you guys get me to, I'm about 20, 21-year-old Austin right now, and 28-year-old Austin's taking over the company. So walk me through that.
Yep. So while I was in school, I kept working on the cruise, and I obviously kept learning. I think I was 20 20 or 21, I took over a crew, and I went to fence school, the fence installation school that he teaches at. And I was president of the class. Not like that. It's a huge thing, but it was a cool accomplishment when I was there anyways.
Yeah.
But So when I was 20, 21, I started running a crew, and then I ran a crew for, I believe, 5 or 6 years. I was very slow at first when I took over a crew, but by the last 2 years, there wasn't much I couldn't do. It was I definitely mastered what I was doing. So then the last year, I came off the crews to start working in the office.
Okay, so tell me, this is good for like, hopefully, so for the foreman or the guys that are running their business that don't know what they're doing, like, how do you quantify you were slow and now there's nothing you couldn't do? What does that sound like to a fencer or a non-fencer? Like, quantify that for me. Like, what is...
I suppose every company is different in how they do it, but the guy that I replaced was, let's say he was getting, I'm just throwing numbers at it, but let's say he was doing 100 posts a day. When I took over the crew, I was maybe getting 50, 60 a day.
Got it. Whereas
by my last couple of years, I was exceeding or right there where the old foreman was at.
Got it. And how do you guys, I'm actually very curious how you look at this, Dave. Like, how do you measure production? Like, do you guys, like, is it posts and panels, or how do you guys, like, when you send a truck out, how do you know if they made money or not? How do you measure that?
So we have our crews are set up. So one truck is going to be setting the posts. And then once the concrete cures, so 7 days after is what we figure, is when the finished truck comes back and finishes it. So I was on the setting truck. So I was just primarily doing posts.
Okay, set versus finish, so what is the standard? 100 posts? Does it matter like height, set?
Like if we're on a commercial site, yeah. If you're in a residential setting, obviously it's not, your backyard's not going to be 100 posts most of the time.
What's your?
Yeah, it all depends how much hand digging you got to do and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you look at it.
I was just kind of throwing some numbers at it real quick when I was saying 100.
No, I only ask because it's just interesting. I see it all. I guess we found each other from the damn Facebook group, but like everybody's got different production. Like, I was just curious how you guys met. It's something we're actually working on, is quantifying, because we've got I think we've got 20 or 30 crews out there. So it's like, how do you normalize it so that every day there's a way to like see who's doing good? Like, instead of kind of finger in the wind, like, how do we measure we're doing linear foot equivalents. Like, every job gets a linear foot equivalent. Like, so for instance, if you do 1,000 foot of a straight run of chain link, that's one. And then if you like that could take an amount of time. That could be the same amount of time as like 500 foot of 8 foot high. You know what I mean? So like, we're trying to get that figured out on our side. So I didn't know if you guys had.
That's a hard one. I mean, I have a lot of things in my head when I'm doing the schedule, because I still do the scheduling. And for me to look at it, sometimes Austin will say, well, I think you can do more than that. And it's like, it's just over my experience. You always have bad days and you're going to have good days on the cruise. It all depends.
Great conversation with Dave and Austin. I love their story. If you're in Wisconsin, you should get at me so I can tell your story. Thank you to the listener. If you didn't like it, fill out the survey. If you did like it, what's that saying? Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, pass it along. Appreciate Pineapple Productions for the edits, and we'll see you next time.